Thank you for tuning in to the Without Distraction Relationship Broadcast. I am your host, Dr. Ingrid Durr. Today we have our guest again for the second time. We're going to be dealing with the second edition of Gracefully Aging. And Mom, I'm so glad you're here with me. And to continue to discuss where we left off, we dealt with some things relating to aging and crises and challenges that aging are facing today. But right now, I want to talk about some things that's taking place in your life, for things that you enjoy and things that you understand more now than you have when you were younger. So let's start off with your life coming up as a child. Tell us something about that.
Well, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. But I do know that at age 5, I and my 3 sisters were put into a foster home. Mm-hmm. And thank God we were put into a home where we were cared for, mm-hmm. and taught and taken care of. In fact, we all lived in the home until we married out or until we were grown enough to go out on our own.
That's wonderful.
Yes. So that was an experience because my mother and father lived within walking distance. Mm-hmm. And back while my father lived 2 doors down from where I lived, mm-hmm. and he had to pass my house to get to his house.
Wow.
And I know what time he would, be coming past, and I'd wait for him, and then I open the door and say, "Hey, Daddy, can I have a quarter?"
Oh, wow.
And
mm-hmm.
Then my mom met a man, and they moved to Michigan, and she would come on her vacation, on her job vacation. She would come to visit us for a week. Every summer. And then one mm-hmm. time she came, and it was during school time, mm-hmm. and she went up to the school and talked to my teachers and everything, and she looked so much like one of the students. One of the guys came up and put his arm around her and tried to hit on her, I said, "Hey, young, this is my young. Mother." Yes, she was she was 14 when she married.
Wow.
It was not her wish to marry. Mm-hmm. It was not my father's wish to marry. But it was an incident where my father had gotten in some little problem in Louisiana, and he was sent from there to his sisters. His sisters raised him because his mother had died when they were early age. Mm-hmm. And so then, where am I? Tell me.
But did it bother you when you found out that your parents lived nearby?
It didn't bother me, but it did confuse me as to why my parents were living within walking distance and I couldn't live with them. And during those days, you didn't ask questions.
Right.
And if you ask questions, you might get a backhand slap. Mm-hmm. So I didn't ask questions, but that thing was always in me, and anything that came up in my life that I could not understand why, I had a problem with it.
Okay.
Right. And so when I was, I think you were born, and you were my last child.
Yes.
And I think Mom came one day to the house, and I asked her about it. Mm-hmm. And she told me about it. Mm-hmm. And then I understood. And then they kind of moved some of that problem there.
So what was it that you understood, the reasoning of being in walking distance and giving you all up for foster care?
Well, my mom, as I said, married when she was 14. Okay. And she didn't want to get married. But she was living with the family. It was an Indian and a black woman living together, and married, and she was living with them, and the lady was blind, but she still, you know, had my mother there to help her. And so then the lady got cancer, and they said she was going to die. And the lady said she didn't want to leave my mother there with her husband and with my Uncle George, who lived there also. And so she decided, and then her friend, who was my father's sister, decided to marry these two. And so they took my mother down to the Marriage License Bureau and dressed her up and put makeup on and put a hat on and made it look like she was 18
she was older,
and said she was 18 and married her to my father. My father, he was not mature, and he was, spoiled. And he didn't know responsibility. He didn't take responsibility. And my mom, you know, with her being 14, and then I was born when she was 15, and I had something called eczema all over my body, and she didn't have anybody to help her or to teach her, but it was overwhelming to her. And by the time she was 20, I believe, she had 4 children, and my dad had left her. And so this is why we were put into a foster home. Well, when they went to court, they told my mom that if she get married again and have a stable home for us, that she could get us back. But I asked my mom, I said, why you didn't get us back? And she said that I felt it was better for you in the home you were in the foster home. So
actually she really did that out of love. To make sure that you all was well taken care of, and you know, a better home environment, and that the needs were met for you all. So she did that out of love, and it's not a negative thing. No, it was not positive. Yeah, so that was a great thing. So
and every birthday we had, she would send us a gift. Every holiday, she would send each of us a new outfit. So, I mean, we knew we was going to get a box from Mama because, you know, Easter was coming or Christmas or whatever, you know, and she stayed in touch. And then when I was old enough, she would write letters to me in regards to my sisters and myself. And I would write her back for my sisters and whatnot. And a couple of times my foster parents took us over to Michigan to visit with her during the summertime we were out. So it was, I believe it was a God-arranged thing.
Yes, because unfortunately some are in foster homes and not getting the care that they deserve, and some are doing it just for a paycheck and not really caring for those children. And but I'm glad. What about your experiences coming up in the foster home as a teenager? You know how it is when we try to find our identity, and I'm grown now, and I'm older, and you know, our ways of trying to break out of who we are. Have you experienced any negative part about it, or talking back, or anything like that?
I was an ordinary girl, but I was always taught respect.
Yes, okay.
And even not just for my foster parents, but for the elders, you know. And so because I was taught respect, I was respectful. And I didn't get into a lot of things. I did get into a couple of things, you know, and I received what the reward was for what I had done, you know. But I never felt, even though I only remember a few times that I got a whooping, I never felt that it was abuse.
Right.
I never felt like I was being abused.
It was something you needed at the time to help correct you and get you in right position. Right. And so none of it was done out of anger. Right. You know, but yeah. So there was one instance you told some of us. I don't remember the story, but if you can remember to tell us your experience of talking to the foster mom. Yes.
Yes. My foster mother had a couple sayings, and one saying she had was, if a task is once begun, do not leave until it's done. Be thy labor great or small, do it well or not at all. And so I decided, well, I don't want to do this. And we all had our assignments on Saturday. My parents was gone out to get groceries, and we had our assignments to do. And so I decided I wasn't going to do it, and I didn't do it. And when she came back and she says, Audrey, why didn't you do what you were supposed to do? I said, because you told me that if a task is once begun, do not leave until it's done. Be thy labor great or small. Do it well or not at all. And I was not going to do it well.
Oh, wow.
She didn't say anything, but she went and got the ironing cord.
Oh, my.
And my arm.
And you learned a good lesson then.
Yes.
To do it well or try to do it.
Do it. Yes.
So that was a lesson to learn. So what about now as you're getting older and how is your life now? What is it that you like about life? And if you were to do, I guess I'm asking a twofold question. If you were to do some things all over again, what would it be?
I can't discuss that.
Okay. Well, gracefully. She explained that gracefully.
I think everyone has things in their life that once they get grown, they look back and say, well, I would have done it another way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or I shouldn't have done it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I have some thoughts like that. Also,
we all do. Yeah.
Yes,
we all do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can say that I'm happy. I'm happy in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's all I can say about it. I'm just happy in the Lord.
And family is nearby.
Family
is around.
It's so important. It's
yes,
so important.
It is.
And it makes me feel so good. See, what you have to understand also is from the time I could think, I wanted to be married.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have 12 children. I wanted two of those to be twin girls.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just something that I wanted. You know, and so I got married when I was 18, and I had my first child at 19. My husband wanted 8 children. I wanted 12. He wanted 8.
Wow.
So he wanted 4 girls and 4 boys because that's what his daddy had. And so I had 8 children, 4 girls and 4 boys that lived.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 children in heaven, and I believe one of my twins is in heaven that I wanted. You know, praise God. So God honored.
So you had your heart desire, and had God give you
my heart's desire.
Your desire.
When I was in high school, all 4 years, the only thing I took up as a major was homemaking. Because I didn't want a career. I just wanted to have my 12 children and have a good husband and a good marriage.
Oh, wonderful. Well, what would you say that would inspire aging people to do today to keep them motivated and keep them involved in the community or activities? What would you say to keep them motivated, keep them active, keep their thoughts sharp?
That they should stay active.
Mm-hmm.
They should do reading. And not necessarily, they have to read the Bible all the time, but that should be part of their daily reading. But working puzzles and doing things that stimulates the brain cells, you know, it's good.
And games and...
Right. That's why it's not good to, that they by themselves in depression and whatnot.
Right.
You know.
Well, I believe too, the more people are around the elderlies, the better they are.
Right.
As far as, just their environment, keeping a healthy environment for them that creates love, that creates balance, and keep them fertile in their thinking and everything else. And so it really helped them. And so what...
My sister is 2 years younger than I am, and she and her group, that go to church together, they get together and walk the mall.
Yes, that's a good thing.
And then I don't know if they did it last year, but I think the year before that they all had a garden together, and they worked it and
worked the garden, planting. Oh, that's beautiful.
Right. So there are a lot of different things that we can do to stay active.
Yes.
And like my husband, he likes to walk, so he walks from the house down to the store, and he might stay down there an hour, 2 hours, whatever, kicking it with the other fellas down there, and then walk on back to the house, So just whatever will keep your brain cells stimulated and keep you going.
Yes. And then when there's a will, there's a way, and sometimes our elderly are not willing to do a lot of things because they feel like they have no need for it. I did all this and did all that. And so they might get into a mode where they just don't do anything. But I would encourage those that are in their life to help motivate them to activities and do some positive things. And sometimes it takes someone to encourage them to do those things. Because sometimes you don't know what's good for you until you start doing it. And sometimes you don't know food is good for you until you start really eating it. And then you realize, okay, I didn't have an appetite, but you encouraged me to eat. Now I'm eating. Now I'm able to eat it, and it's good for me. It's going to build my health up. So it's the same thing with other things, with activities and being involved in social, or have some form of social life, whether it's in church or whether it's in another organization, in the community, being active, volunteer work at the library, and even if it's just 1 or 2 hours a day or every 3 days, and just things of that nature, it's just good to do. Because what happens usually when a person has worked all their lives and then they go into retirement and they just suddenly stop doing all the activities that they were doing, it just kind of set them back in a mood where it really affects them and they don't realize. Some go into a depression, some go into all types of withdrawal, and a lot of things they begin to experience. Yes, ma'am. Some of them even die.
Yeah.
So some experience a lot of things because of that. So that's why it's important to gracefully age, to continue doing some positive things for your family, for yourself, and enjoy life at best. Enjoy the God-given birth, the God-given people that He put in your life. And by all means, speak up when there's something that's really hurting you. Sometimes people, they withdraw and they don't share because they figure nobody's going to hear them or nobody care. Nobody's going to help change anything, or it's going to always be the same. So they don't share things that's hurting them or things that's bothering them. If there's some form of abuse or things of that nature, sometimes they don't share. But I want to encourage them that if you're listening and you are gracefully aging, to share with someone things that are bothering you, what's hurting, and some things can be changed through communication and communicating with someone. So, Elder Mays, my mother, I'm glad again that you're with us and on this broadcast. And what are some of the things, while we have a few more minutes, what are some of the things that you would like to see in your children and your children's children? What kind of things you think they should embrace that you were able to embrace coming up as an elderly? Because the children nowadays, they lack a lot of things now because they don't, it's just Hollywood and the media, so many other things that really pull them away from a lot of positive things. Like me coming up, we were jumping rope. We were playing ball. We were playing hide and go seek. We were playing water games. We were playing all types of things that keep us active and involved. And now, you know, a lot of older children now, just like teenagers now, they're not, even young adults, they don't know what it is to really play skip-scop or hide and go seek, and or how it was. They didn't experience that when they were younger. So if you ask them about it now, they're like, what are you talking about? You know, because their games is far beyond that. Their happiness is getting involved in the party life or getting involved in all types of other things, because they've been exposed to so much now, and so much negative activities going on now. So what would you say that they should embrace?
Well, of course, embrace God.
Yes.
And be a true Christian, not just one that goes to church and sit on the bench every Sunday and go back home.
Yes.
And whatever, you know, grow in grace. That's the important thing, to grow in grace. As we're born, and I talk about it in my book, as we are born into the Christian family, you know, we are newborn. That's what Jesus said, that we have to be born again, of spirit and of water. And so as we are newborns, and we don't need to stay that way. We need to grow and mature and become soldiers for God. Yeah,
so it's important to be a balance. You mentioned that it's important that the young people take a hold to God to have balance in their life.
To have balance, right.
Because it'll help them in every other way. Their social life and just their upbringing, to have balance in their life, being well-rounded. So that's so important. And that's why you wrote the book, Patterns for Daily Living, because it's dealing with basic truths to go into maturity and having a healthy life from newborns into spiritual maturity. So this is so great. So what else would you say in our closing as far as gracefully aging that's important to bring out?
I think our young people need to learn how to be respectful.
Yes.
And understand that older people have feelings. And, you know, spend time with them and do something, maybe go over and comb their hair, braid their hair.
Yes.
Do the fingernails, whatever. You know, it would make them feel so good and so wanted. And it's just something that, you know, would be with them the rest of their life.
Yes.
And I think the grandchildren have a responsibility with the grandparents also.
Yes.
Not because they're, you know, kids, but because you come from this seed.
Yes.
You know, this person brought you into this world as you are, you know, and I think respect is one of the things that we had in my day that they don't have now. And the children, they don't even respect their parents, a lot of them. And I see them, you know, talk bad to them and call them names and curse them and whatnot. You know, my children, you know, are well grown, and none of my children would do that.
That's right.
Even if it's something they disagreed about, they would come to me and talk to me in a manly way.
Yes.
You know, and respectful way.
Yes.
You know, and then we talk about it as adults.
That's right.
You know, but it grieves me to see the young people and how they talk to their parents and how they talk to their grandparents.
Yes.
So that's what I would like for all of my children's children to have that respect.
Yes.
And if they have respect, the people that they run with will begin to have respect.
That's right.
because spirits transfer spirits.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Like you said, negative words and negative talking, it would affect other people that's around you. If you're disrespecting one person, and then other people around them, they feel that they can disrespect them too. And so that's not a good thing. That's very unhealthy. And later in life we'll be accountable for it, because if we live long and have longevity, then we're going to be experiencing people in our life, and we want love. We want to be received. We want to be respected. We want to be honored as well. So we have to do unto others as you want others to do to you. And so it's important to do that. So I just want to say I'm just so glad that you've taken the time to listen as we discuss gracefully aging, because it's just so important to understand our loved one and to grow in grace and understanding and knowledge and truth, and make the best out of life. That's what life is about. Mm-hmm. Take it and make the best out of it, and appreciate life that God has given us. And so with that being said, I want to just thank you again, Mom, Elder Audrey Mays, for being a part. And I want to have you back again. And I'm just so glad at 80 years old, you're still going 80 strong.
Praise God.
80 young, I say. And I'm just so glad that you're who you are.
Praise God.
And thank you again for tuning in Without Distraction Relationship Broadcast. Feel free to call us, area code 708-745-4393, or you can check us out on the website at withoutdistractionrelationship.com, and you can find out more about what we're doing. The annual event that we host every year is always around Valentine's season. We have a free conference and couples. It's a family-oriented conference. How you can be a part of the next location in the next coming year in February. And so we want you to continue to tune in as we bring shows your way dealing with relationship, that we may all live this life without distraction. Again, thank you. Until then, be blessed.
Praise God.